Hey everyone, welcome to another Goody Reader review video. My name is Michael.
And this is Peter.
We have here today the iPhone 6 Plus. This is the largest phone that the company has ever released, and to give you a sense of scale, this is my iPhone 5, so you could really see how large this is. And I had a little bit of trepidation when I first bought this, because going from a small phone to this was a bit of an adjustment period of about 3 or 4 days, and it's really hard to go back to my iPhone 5 after using the 6 Plus. Let's give you a sense of specs before we show you the 360. It has a 5.5 inch screen. The resolution is tremendous. It's 1080 by 1920 at 401 ppi, which is absolutely insane. The camera is 8 megapixels for the rear facing camera. Crazy. And you could see that the camera actually protrudes a bit from the body, whereas the older phones, it was sort of built and flush. So a lot of people are saying, you know, it's protruding a little bit. So you have to bear that in mind. The front facing camera is 1.2 megapixels, and there's a lot of other little things to it, like it's a 64-bit dual core 1400 megahertz or gigahertz processor, and there's about 1 gig of RAM, and built-in storage varies depending on what model you got. I got the 64 gig version. Peter, show us the 360.
I like this because it looks like a mini iPad mini, you know? It's really nice looking. The corners are very nicely rounded. You don't get any of those sharp edges like you did on the previous generation. Yeah. You have light sensor, camera, earpiece, button at the bottom for standby, and going to just home and bypassing all of the pressing back and all that. It
also is a fingerprint sensor too, so you can actually like unlock and make purchases by using that, but there's the whole setup thing that you have to do in order to, you know, you have to keep on tapping it for it to register like your fingerprint. It's actually pretty cool.
Volume up and down, ringer toggle for silence. You have nothing on the top, very clean looking. Power button on the right. SIM tray removal. Put a little SIM removal tool or a paper clip and the SIM tray pops out. Single speaker on the bottom. New lightning connector. 3.5mm headphone jack. Microphone for the talking. You also have another microphone here next to the camera for filming, along with the camera itself, and a flash. Very nice phone.
Yeah, I mean, I really dig it, but let's look at the overall software experience. Let's look at some books, play some music and video. So this is the latest version of iOS, and I am on an LTE connection. You can see here the screen is very lush and vibrant.
So nice.
You know, I have relatively big hands, so I never really had a weird time holding it with one hand and then trying to navigate around. I know people with like smaller hands, dating young girls, they had problems with it, but you know, for a dude with big hands, it's no big deal at all. You know, to be honest, when I first got this, I had, you know, watched all those Bengate videos, and I had a lot of trepidation holding it, putting it in my pocket, thinking, oh, I'd bend. And I was even tempted to just like bend it, just to try, not with a huge amount of force, but I just wanted for my own, you know, to be self-secure that it's not going to bend like it did in those YouTube videos. I know. So you can see here, I mean, there's a lot of things like apps that are visible. You can swipe up and see all of your camera, flashlight, photography, lock screen and stuff like that. In the past, when you saw our 360, this button here did mute. In the past, that button also on, say, iPads locked the orientation. This is the only iPhone that actually on its home screen will switch to landscape mode, and we'll show you in a few minutes what we mean by that. We have some apps that we want to show you. Being at Good e-Reader, we want to focus on the overall reading experience. With iOS 8 Plus, iBooks now is integrated into here, and an iBooks rep told me that ever since iBooks became a part of iOS 8, they have 1 million new customers every week that are visiting the store and buying books. So with a large screen, the overall reading experience when it comes to reading ebooks is very, very solid. So given that iBooks is stock now in iOS, mainly just kind of want to show you.
That's a decent size for reading.
It is.
Yeah.
It's when I had this
Yeah, bring
phone,
that in. Check that out.
when I had the iPhone 5, which is what most people had,
Yeah.
reading on this was a trial and tribulation. It was actually really, really hard to read. So this is the same book, and you can see
Yeah.
how little text fits on the screen.
Crazy.
This is brilliant. And in a future video, we'll put head-to-head the iPhone 5 against the 6 Plus. So you can obviously change the background depending on your needs. Instead of flipping pages, you can just like scroll up. This is useful for when you're one-handing the phone, if you're like in motion, if you're walking down the street, commuting, and things like that. So reading is great, and not just ebooks, but I mean, I read things like Dig.
News feeds, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of like Dig in terms of just getting cool stuff from like all over the internet, and reading Dig on this phone is like really nice because, you know, by default the text is really readable. I found with the iPhone 5, I constantly had to like double tap to pinch and zoom. A lot of sites weren't like mobile friendly. With this, even if a site's not mobile friendly, I could still read the article, which is like really nice. And pictures and all that stuff are vibrant and stand out. Also, I read routers a lot just to stay in touch with like world news. I'm not really too concerned with like local Canadian news or Vancouver news, but I like to read more about like world news. So again, pictures, the lead-in pictures, the article body itself, tremendously readable. Of course, just reading news sites and books isn't the only thing that this thing does well, but it also reads comics fairly respectively. So we're going to load up Marvel Comics.
Look at that.
And this screen really goes to work when you look at high-def content like this.
Colors really pop too.
It's true.
Look at that.
So these few frames I wanted to show you because it's really colorful. You know, there's a lot kind of going on.
Decent level of zoom as well.
Yeah.
Really get in there. Of course, we're utilizing guided view.
Yeah. Good old Thanos.
Ah. Chilling like a villain.
Yeah, so I want to show you some games, some video, and such. I love the Plus because of landscape.
Yeah, finally.
You know, I could be watching a video or be playing a game in landscape, come back to the home screen, and everything is positioned. It's sort of like Android almost with the sidebar here, but of course you can customize, you can drag and drop things of your favorite, you know, apps or shortcuts here. I just go with the stock because I use all this stuff on like a daily basis. And I want to show you how it looks with video and playing music. So we're gonna just look at some stock footage. So
Ooh.
that looked tremendous.
That looked awesome.
When I first got this phone, I downloaded a purchase that I had actually made because I have an Apple TV, and I attach whatever iDevice I have directly to my TV, and I was watching the Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh,
and
solid.
This was like the high def version, and it's the only, I couldn't watch movies on this because it's just too small. I actually enjoy watching movies on here. I actually have downloaded apps like Funimation and Crunchyroll, and when my iPad Air is out of juice, I'll often switch to this now and watch content. I've never been able to do that on an iPhone before. So this is a game that I play quite often called Simpsons Tapped Out. The premise of the game is to build your own Springfield, build roads, build buildings. I have a fair number of friends on here, so you get friendship points, and then you can use those points to like get super rare load stuff. So you could see if you actually play this game, I have like a pretty big Springfield.
Nicely laid out too.
Yeah, and I have like a lot of like premium stuff. I think I've spent a lot of money on this game to like buy every character skin, every rare building since like they actually released this game. So I've been actually playing this game since it first came out, and I'm proud of this, which is the new Krusty Burger oil rig. If you remember in an early episode, Homer and Bart were in a rowboat marooned, and then Homer like runs into here and it's like, I'll take like 2,000 cheeseburgers, and he's like, right away, sir. And Homer single-handedly saved the Krusty Burger oil rig. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this game, but it's just like a city building game, so you start with like a very small square, and then you sort of like just build up using buildings and currency and experience and all that. There's a lot of quests. They're often like pretty cheeky in terms of like mocking microtransaction games and things like that. But if you have ever played this, which you probably have because it's one of the most successful games of all of 2013 and 14, I just wanted to show you sort of how visually it looks, but how a large screen. This is almost like Vita size in terms of the screen.
Correct.
Or one of like, it's almost one bigger than one of the screens on like what's the portable Nintendo DS?
Yeah, Nintendo 3DS. Absolutely.
So when it comes down to it, I love this phone. I find that it's the first Apple phone that I could watch videos comfortably. I could play games comfortably. I could listen to music, and the music quality is like really good. App Store and iTunes is solid. One of the things that I don't like is like email. So if you want to delete emails, it's like you have to sort of delete them sort of one by one. There's really kind of no way that you can kind of like delete them en masse. You kind of have to, edit, click this, click this, click this, click trash. And if you first set up a device, you might have like hundreds or when I connected up all 3 of my email accounts, I had 28,000 emails that just sunk back 2 weeks ago. And so really what I had to do is I had to like log into Gmail where Goody Reader, where the mail happens, and I had to manually delete all the emails on the server and then reset up the email accounts on here so it wouldn't sync like 30,000 messages. So it's like a little trick that you have to do. So if you guys have like a Yahoo, a Hotmail, a Gmail address, and then you're setting up a new account, getting just like an ungodly amount of messages, just log into those accounts and manually delete them all, and then delete your email address on here, reset it up, and then you won't get like a million messages at once. But if you have like Outlook on your computer or something like that where all the messages are already there like I do, then all those messages are preserved. But when you set up new devices, it's way easier to like do it that way. But that's just like a tip and a trick. But yeah, I mean, I've used the Galaxy Note, so I'm no stranger to large phones. I initially, before I bought this, I bought a BlackBerry Classic, and I really didn't like it at all with the square screen. It wouldn't even go in landscape mode. So when I would watch like Vine videos or something like that, everything would be like cut off, and it would be really hard to like actually watch anything. So I got this, and after about 2 or 3 days of an adjustment period, I love it. So let's hear from you guys. What do you think about the iPhone 6 Plus? Is it something that you think you like, or do you own one? What are your thoughts about it? Are you thinking about upgrading to one? And has this video assisted you in any way? Drop a comment below. For Getting Beater, my name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Everybody take care.